And welcome to another episode of 12 About Movies with Tyler and Todd. I'm Todd, and as always,
I'm Tyler.
And welcome back. So we got some fun and exciting things that are hitting streaming or already on our streaming sites.
Of course, yeah.
Let's just dive right into one that I think we're both most excited.
The big title at the top of the marquee.
The big title at the top of the marquee. In our great year of 2023, we have not been given just a single Wes Anderson film. We're getting a handful.
We are blessed, and we are going to continue to be blessed throughout the weekend by Wes Anderson.
That's right, and I've seen one of them.
Okay, I was supposed to watch it last night, but instead I watched yet another Hal Hartley movie.
No problem with that.
Yeah.
Hal Hartley tuned into episode, 4, I think, when we chatted about
Yeah,
Hal.
he'll come back eventually.
Always returning.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the wonderful story of Henry Sugar, which is now available on Netflix for those that enjoy that streaming site.
And additionally, we have 2 more Wes Anderson movies out by the time this airs. I think it's The Ratcatcher and The Swan.
And
also
if
out.
those titles mean anything to you or sound familiar, it's because they're based on Roald Dahl short stories. I guess Netflix is given the rights to do whatever they want with Roald Dahl. They were smart.
Yeah.
And got probably the director whose visual sensibilities line up the most, I feel like, with that author.
Arguably Anderson's best movie is based on the Dahl story as well, with Mr. Fox.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Exactly
Yeah.
right. So I didn't even put the two of that together.
Yeah,
Of course.
This is a familiar well for him to draw from.
Yeah. But Wes Anderson, we love him. We've talked a lot about Asteroid City and how that's both kind of at the top of our charts for this year.
I mean, that's definitely his most inventive movie, and to have this coming at 2 months after how insane that was.
I will say, and I know that you haven't seen it yet, and this is no spoilers for the folks at home, but I think Anderson, visually he is his own person when it comes to filmmaking. He's tapped into something new here.
Okay.
First saw it with Asteroid City, with this, his storybook, visual sense is kind of put on display as almost a theater, a play.
Yeah.
This is very much kind of in that same realm.
He's continuing to comment on himself through the format.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I really enjoyed it. I checked it out last night. It's got a great performance by Benedict Cumberbatch, who I love him. And
Would you say is best?
It's not his bad, no.
Yeah.
My mind was not blown that much.
It's Smoke still.
It's Smoke. No, he's good. He's not speaking or trying to speak with an American accent, so it's already one of his better roles. It's better than anything he's done with the MCU.
Yeah.
But no, it's an interesting tale, and it's just really unique and really different. And Ben Kingsley is in it briefly, but hilarious. I loved it. It's quirky, it's weird, it's gorgeous to look at. It's Wes Anderson.
Yeah, if you like Wes Anderson, you're probably going to like this.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't need us to recommend Wes Anderson for you.
Yeah. And that warms my heart, a movie like that. You know what else warms my heart?
What is that?
My wife and I look forward to this every single year, and it's back, and now I can just have a big cozy blanket made of, I don't know, cake.
Yeah, and British people.
And British people on me. But the Great British Baking Show is back, or the Great British Bake Off, depending on what you like to call it. But that is back. It premiered earlier this week across seas, but now it will premiere on Netflix, and we'll get new episodes every Friday of the Great British Bake Off. Have you ever seen the show? Are you a fan?
Not even one time, no.
I'm telling you, it will make you a happier person.
Happier? Okay.
It is entirely, completely made as a comfort watch.
Just something to gorge on visually?
It's, no, not so much.
A big
the food
cake.
looks incredible.
Yeah.
No joke, the food looks incredible. Here's the thing, you watch a lot of these reality shows and competition shows that the US makes, and everything is such a competition, and everyone's at each other's throats, and it's just, you just kind of feel dirty and negative by the time you finish an episode of, I don't know, Survivor, Bachelor, whatever, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
This show, not so much. It has prided itself and known that it's just a comfort watch for people. Everyone helps each other. The contestants help one another. Even the judges aren't complete jerks to the people. I don't know. It's just, it fills you with like, hey, maybe the world's going to be okay as long as we're completely destroying our stomachs with delicious sweets.
Were you telling me before we were recording that you were glad that some schmuck was kicked off the show, episode 1?
I did say that.
Yeah.
I don't think I said schmuck. I said the
that's
guy that
Tylerism.
deserved to be removed did.
And now the show can be even more wholesome.
Correct. Okay. Anyways, if you like baked goods, if you like nice people, watch a Great British Bake Off. That's on Netflix on Fridays.
All right, cool.
Now let's kind of switch into, we got October 1st. It's this weekend. So all the streaming sites are going to be getting just
lots of horror.
Dump of movies.
We're leaving the nice people behind and coming in with the mean slashers.
Yeah, let's get into the horror stuff. So
Very
we're not going to
mean.
go hardcore on the horror talk today. We're saving that for you for next week.
Yeah, we have a very special episode.
Very
coming up
special
next week.
episode. We'll give you details about that at the end of this episode. So keep watching. Please don't turn us off.
Yeah.
Please keep watching. Yeah, but no, we got some good movies that are dropping on Sunday, and I just want to throw some of them out. One of them, guys, it was one of my picks from last week. We talked about it and how everyone should watch it.
Before it leaves Max.
Before it leaves
whatever it
Max.
was.
Well, guess what? If you didn't get to watch it before it leaves, it is available on Hulu. I'm talking David Pryor's The Empty Man.
Boom.
Boom. Watch it. It's on Hulu. Watch it.
Very atmospheric, very scary. It will get you in the mood for horror season.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great film. We also have, I'm a big fan. I know it's kind of hit or miss with people. I'm also just a sucker for this guy. But Mike Flanagan's adaptation of Dr. Sleep, which is based on the Stephen King novel, which is a sequel to his novel, The Shining. Whereas this movie acts as both an adaptation of that book, serving as a sequel to the book, but also a direct sequel to Stanley Kubrick's Shining, which is wildly different from the Stephen King novel. Are you following? Keeping up with
It's an insane tightrope walk that he has to walk.
It's incredible.
I feel like I haven't read the book, but my impression on it is that it's mostly an adaptation of the movie, and it ditches a lot of stuff out of the book to focus on, being a sequel to the movie.
Yes, very much so.
I really like Mike Flanagan. I think he's a very good director.
I do too.
He has the House of Usher show coming out this next month.
That's right. We'll probably talk about that a little bit next week as well. But yeah, yeah. And Flanagan has a very, much like Wes Anderson, if you're watching something, you could pretty much figure out, this is a Mike Flanagan thing, is it?
Yeah.
Is there a 10-minute long monologue and the camera's just slowly moving in on a person? Mike Flanagan probably directed that movie.
Yeah.
I really like Flanagan. I think the stuff that he's done with Haunting of Hill House or Bly Manor or Midnight Mass, which I think is, I think that's my favorite of his works.
Probably.
But I hear that the other one is better. But back to Dr. Sleep. I really dug it. I think it's got some really cool performances. Rebecca Ferguson is beautifully frightening as Rose the Hat in that movie.
That scene with Jacob Tremblay at the baseball.
I get uncomfortable.
Insane. That is crazy.
I get uncomfortable watching that. I get uncomfortable thinking about it.
Yeah, this is an acclaimed child actor, but I still cannot believe the terror in this performance.
He's an incredibly gifted actor, even at such a young age.
And even in one scene.
He shows up for one scene.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, is that Academy Award nominee? Okay, got it. Yeah. Great movie, Dr. Sleep. If you're a Stephen King fan or just a fan of horror and a fan of The Shining, check it out. It's totally worth it.
It's not as good as The Shining, but that's an impossible comparison to even make.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. We also have dropping, that's on Hulu, and then also dropping on Hulu, we have Nightmare Alley, the Guillermo del Toro film that came out a few years back.
I really loved this. I really loved this movie.
Yeah?
It had a sick, twisted grin on my face at the end of the movie.
It did. I love it. It definitely went in a much. I never saw the original.
Okay.
So I went into this one about as blind as I possibly could, and it was twisty, and there were lots of things that were happening towards the back end of that movie where I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
I loved it.
There's a huge mic drop moment with the final line from Bradley Cooper. Oh, God.
God, I don't even remember what the final line is.
It's worth revisiting, but it's...
Don't spoil it, but maybe I have to go back and rewatch that movie.
It's cool. They do a full circle thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the original is also great. I believe it's on Criterion right now. I think
Okay.
Tyrone Power's in it or something.
Cool.
Looks very good, but man, this Guillermo del Toro adaptation is just so extravagant.
It's gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
It might, and Del Toro, again, another filmmaker that just carries this visual sensibility with him that is just so vibrant and him.
Yeah.
You know?
He puts his entire identity into every project he makes, for better or for worse, but mostly for better.
I think this is his most beautifully crafted film.
Yeah.
Yet,
I agree.
Personally.
I agree.
Have you seen Pinocchio?
I've not actually.
It's not just now dropping. It's on Netflix and it has been. It premiered last year, but he does an animated adaptation of Pinocchio that it's the best adaptation of Pinocchio.
It's
ever.
about
Bar none.
fascist Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It will make you cry.
Do you consider AI an adaptation of Pinocchio, or is it too referential to the original story?
I think that there's shades of it, but I don't think it's a direct adaptation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it definitely skirts that line.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a sucker for that movie. I love that movie to death.
Dude, I cry.
We could do a whole episode on AI. That movie makes both of us cry.
I cry. I weep.
Yeah.
It is embarrassing what that movie does to me.
Yeah, it's a wonderfully made film, and anyone that says otherwise is you just need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
You check it out again.
Open your heart a little bit.
All right, let's move this along. Okay, so I know that we were going to be like super excited, and we probably would have devoted a whole episode to Dune Part 2, but unfortunately, due to the writers' strike and actually the actors' strike, I think it was the more SAG strike.
Yeah.
That movie has been delayed until March. Well, if you still want a little bit of that Dune love, Dune, the first film from Denis Villeneuve,
Part 1.
Part 1 is on Netflix.
Yeah.
Well, on October 1st, and if you haven't seen it, good golly, watch it. It's incredibly made.
Some of the best world building for sci-fi films, at least in the
In a
last 5
single
years.
film. And within the first 30 minutes of that movie, like, you know exactly where you are, exactly where you're going, exactly what the story is. Like, that movie is perfectly written, directed, edited, and just crafted to give you as much information and have you retain it as it can in such a short amount of time, because he's trying to, adapt an enormous novel with a lot of things behind it in a roughly 5-hour movie split in two.
Have you read the book before?
I've not.
It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, Denis does a very good job of capturing the very dry. The book reads like it's like a historical text, like maybe like you're reading the textbook, just recounting the details of this.
Well, and that's kind of how the opening of his first film kind of plays out. It's almost like you're dropping in and you're being educated on it. So that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, Denis always had that little skill.
Interesting.
But yeah, he captured the tone well. Did you see the David Lynch film?
I have, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been some years since I've seen it, but wildly different adaptations from the two of them.
This one's a little bit closer to the source text.
Okay. All right. Cool. Great performances. Your boy Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, he kills it.
He kills it.
Yeah.
He does a good job.
Yeah.
Excellent. All
I'm
right.
excited for the third movie when he really goes unhinged.
If they make one, let's see.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along to staff picks.
Staff picks. Okay.
Staff picks for this week.
I did not peek at your sheet. What do you have going?
You go first.
Okay. Well, I watched this over the weekend. Last week when they dropped Ninja Turtles on Paramount Plus.
So good.
Immediately subscribed just so I could rewatch that, and then I
watch it. It's so good.
Ninja
it's
Turtles.
So good.
That's my first staff pick. Ninja Turtles.
Sure,
Again,
just go
go watch it.
Yeah.
But I flipped around Paramount and Showtime. I guess this is technically on the Showtime.
Okay.
Inclusion, expansion, whatever you want to call it. But this is a movie I've been looking for a while. I heard great things around festival circuits. But here's the plot.
Oh boy.
It's about an antisocial, struggling photographer. His wife leaves for a weekend and he's just trying to have it like a quiet, reset. And I'm just going to stay at home for the entire weekend, eat candy, watch TV, whatever.
Sounds fun.
Suddenly, his best friend an old best friend shows up. He hasn't talked to this dude in like a decade. And they hang out, they catch up. And then when he asks him, hey, can you leave? I need to get to my weekend. He says that he can't. And he realizes that this was less rekindling of an old friendship, a hangout sesh, whatever you will, and more of a haunting because his best friend is dead.
Sounds amazing.
It is.
What movie are we talking about?
It's called The Civil Dead.
The Civil Dead.
Yeah,
okay.
it's like the Evil Dead, but a little bit more mild-mannered. It's directed by Clay Tatum, who stars in the film, and it was co-written by Clay Tatum and his co-star Whitmer Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. This feels like a return to like the mumblecore movement. It's basically, shot on digital, two white guys talking in an apartment for 90 minutes. But it's very, I don't know. You hear the plot and you're like, oh, this is going to be like a Casper the Friendly Ghost type situation,
Yeah.
But it's actually very cynical.
Does it become malicious?
It maybe not, I'd say outwardly malicious, yeah, but it's a very selfish movie.
Interesting.
You can laugh with delight at how awful these people are.
Okay.
It's really cool. The main character, Clay Tatum, one of the worst haircuts I've seen in my life.
Well, that's enough to get me to watch it.
Purposefully so. There's like a bit where he's like, if I'm going to be a famous photographer, I need like some bit that people can recognize me. I need a really awful haircut. Yeah. No, it's good. It's very good.
Maybe we should take that into consideration to get our show really off the ground. We just get really bad haircuts.
I don't know if I'm going to make my hair worse than it already is.
Oh, come on. Your hair is great.
Oh, thank you, Todd.
All right, here's mine. I'm going to try to go your route and give you the plot.
Okay.
First. So you have two brothers.
Two brothers.
And a friend. Okay, so three guys, right?
Okay.
And they come across a downed plane in the woods.
Okay.
With a bag of cash in it.
Oh, no.
And they're like, can we keep it? Let's try to keep it. Can we get away with it? Can we get away with it? And then soon they just start turning on each other and manipulating each other, and it leads to all sorts of violence. And this bag of cash that they were once thinking is going to change their lives for the better has now completely destroyed everything about them.
Is it directed by Sam Raimi?
It is directed by Sam.
I think I figured out what it is.
I'm talking A Simple Plan.
This is such a good movie.
I love this movie. It's not my favorite Raimi movie, but boy, is it up there.
Yeah.
It is up there. Yeah, A Simple Plan, that is on Paramount Plus, October 1st. Great adaptation of this thriller. Oh gosh, is it? I want to say Scott Smith, but I might be wrong. But let's just go with Scott Smith. And if I'm wrong, then Tyler will put the correct title of the author. But it's based on a novel by this guy.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's totally, I think, one of the best crafted thrillers of that era, like, mid to late 90s. I love the way that these characters who are just so down on their luck and just dealing with this, they just find this wonderful way out. And it just completely eats them from within.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Billy Bob Thornton, not his best performance. I'm still going to go with Sling Blade on that one. I think he's incredible in that. I love Billy Bob Thornton in this movie.
No, he's great.
I think he steals the show out from under Bill Paxton, who is the lead, and Bill Paxton, rest in peace. I mean, I wish we had a million more movies with this guy.
Yeah.
But he is incredible in it. And Bridget Fonda, so good. She's just so quiet, but then gets so
She rises to the situation.
Evil towards the end. And it has just one of those endings of a movie that you can't see come. Well, you can, but you can't see coming from the end, and it just from the beginning, and it just, man, I love it. I love it, and it's just got this real cold, snowy Minnesota, upstate New York vibe to it. It's
somewhere near Fargo.
It's a cold feeling movie.
Yeah. Also very kind of removed from the rest of Raimi's filmography. This is pretty somber compared to what he normally does.
Between this and I think he did right after or right before For the Love of the Game,
Yeah.
Kevin Costner
Very
baseball
removed.
romance. Those two films do not feel like they're directed by the guy that directed Evil Dead.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2.
It's wild.
No laughing deer heads in this.
No, but
there is I didn't realize that
great.
we have the Evil Dead connection with our staff picks.
I like this.
The Civil Dead.
The Civil Dead. Yeah, and Raimi.
It's Raimi. It's the Raimi episode.
I mean, listen, we love Raimi.
I could dedicate an episode to Raimi.
Stay tuned. You might just get that. Okay, let's wrap it up, Tyler.
All right, new to theaters.
New to theaters. We got some pretty exciting stuff this week. The one I'm the most excited for, and the one I'm probably the most disappointed that I won't be able to catch in theaters.
Does that making sense?
Well, I'm watching Stop Making Sense. I'm seeing it tonight. I know we talked about it last week. I'm seeing it tonight. I'm very excited. But no, I am speaking of Gareth Edwards' The Creator, which is like a new, original sci-fi, not an adaptation, not a remake, just
an original concept.
Original concept. They made a movie.
I didn't know they could still
with
do that.
With an original idea.
Wow.
It's not a sequel. And supposedly it just like rips.
Yeah, I hear it's very good. I mean, this is Gareth Edwards, same guy as Rogue One and the 2014 Godzilla movie. And you know, say what you will about the guy, but this guy is really good at like big, like sci-fi. Like he's great at like capturing the scope of something that's like larger than life. And he does it on such a small scale. I know. Yeah. His first movie, Monsters, was like this. It was a monster epic. Yeah. But it was done on the limited budget. Yeah. And apparently, this film, The Creator, was shot on cameras that you can go get at Best Buy for like $3,000. Are you serious? And then they went and they, hear me out, they traveled around the world and shot it on location. At real locations? At real locations. Wow. Now I've heard of everything. And then they, you know, CGI'd the background and did whatever they needed to in that. But they were actually out of a studio, not in front of a screen, and shooting a movie out in the real world, which is something that they did back in the day before Marvel and Disney decided to just shoot films inside of a closet. Who knew? Who knew? Wow. That could be done, right? Yeah. So I'm super excited. I hear it's good stuff. In IMAX screens right now. I'm going to go see this, definitely. Yeah. 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 Very excited. All right. Are you going to see Paw Patrol? Yes, I am. Oh, man. I was going to say Saw, but sure. Oh, I completely misread that. Saw Patrol. Saw Patrol. Saw Patrol. We have the 10th film in the Saw world. Is it the 10th or the 11th? Does Spiral count as? No, that was the 9th one. That was the 9th one. This is Saw X or Socks. Socks. Better movie. Yeah. Socks. I like it. Yeah. Supposedly it's pretty good. I've never been a big Saw guy, so I mean, I'll maybe watch it, maybe not. I haven't seen the last, like, I don't know, 7 of these movies. For the last like 3 Saw movies, I've always went into thinking like, oh well, this has to at least be better than the last one. And every time it gets worse. I think that this one changes it based on early word and what I'm seeing on the internets. This is directed by the dude that did Saw 6 and Saw the Final Chapter. Sure. The final chapter. Sure. He's been with the series for a while. He's the editor for most of them. Okay. That's cool. I'm in too deep with Saw. I've hated the last like 5. Now, I'm not even particularly fond of the entire series. That whole like genre of like, you know, torture, whatever, isn't necessarily for me. Yeah. If I'm going to give the Saw movies credit for one thing, I do really admire them for the way that their storylines weave in and out and on top of and out of and whatever with each other. I think that's kind of just cool. Yeah. How they make that happen. There's total commitment, which sounds funny to say about like a never-ending franchise, like it's some honorable thing that they're doing. Right. But yeah, other than Spiral, I mean, they do figure out how to fit it in. And Spiral, by the way, by far the worst one. By far the worst one. That's wild. That's unfortunate, but that's wild. Yeah. We could have a whole episode talking about how much I hate Spiral. Right, well, let's not. Yeah. And let's move on to the last film that we're going to talk about today. Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's coming out for Paw Patrol. Dude, that movie's going to make $1 billion. This is the second one? Sure. I don't care. I don't watch Paw Patrol. Your daughter's not old enough for Paw Patrol stuff yet? Yeah, she's not into Paw Patrol. Fair enough. Yeah, we haven't really. I mean, me neither, so. But I'm sure it's going to be successful, and I'm sure kids are going to love it, and parents are going to be entertained by the fact that their kids love it, and that's great. I wonder how many parents are going to accidentally bring their kids to the Saw X theater this weekend. They see AW and they're like, yep, it's this theater. This is the one, yeah. This is the theater. Yeah, like the little letter on the marquee is like burned out. I'd like for that to happen. And if you're going to take your kid to see Saw X, email us the results at movies@NBC12.com. Yeah, also, you probably shouldn't take your kids to see Saw X. Send us a photo of your crying child after leaving Saw X. Please don't. Anyways, all right, I think that's it. Yeah, we teased this at the end. We teased this earlier, but next week we'll have a whole new episode dedicated to our top 5 horror films of all time. The movies that scared the pants off of us.
Or not even scared, just horror movies that we love.
I will say my first two, I've already made my list, and the first two, or top two entries that I have are the scariest movies I've ever seen.
I look forward to that.
You already know what the first one is.
I look forward to that.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
All right.
For 12 About Movies, I'm Todd.
I'm Tyler.
Have a great one.